Welcome to ASEAN People Speak, Season 3. I'm Regine Jessica Well, your host for this podcast. Last season, we talked about the history of human rights development in ASEAN. This time, we will delve into the effects of technology, digitalization, artificial intelligence or AI, and artificial general intelligence or AGI on human rights in the region by embarking on the theme Tech Revolution and Human Rights Evolution, exploring the impacts of technological advancements on human rights. To start off our first episode, we will be joined by a researcher, author, and contributor to several online publications. He will share with us his knowledge on digitalization and its effects on political participation, freedom of expression, and civil society engagement in the ASEAN region. He is currently a postgraduate student at KU Leuven Public Governance Institute, studying the intersection of digital governance and innovation for public purposes. His research mostly includes public policy, digital governance, and democratic innovation, with a regional focus in Southeast Asia and country specialization in Indonesia. Everyone, let us welcome for our first episode, Albert Rapha.
Hello.
Hi,
everyone.
Albert.
Hi, Eugene.
How are you?
Never been better. How are you?
I'm doing good. Great that we're having you as our first guest speaker for
Thank you.
this third season of ASEAN People Speak. We're very glad to have you with us, and we're also happy to know that you are a postgraduate student now, studying the intersection of digital governance and innovation for public purposes. That's really very interesting. And to start off, I guess, this conversation, I'd like to ask you, for you as a postgraduate student and as a person who has been in that field for how many years already, how do you think the rise of technology influenced political participation and civic engagement in ASEAN countries?
Right. Thank you, Eugene. We talk about the digital revolution. We should mention that and acknowledge that nowadays in ASEAN countries, where 70% of the population residing in this region are now have internet access. So embracing all the digital innovations and other tech-led innovations make sense. Yeah? But we have to acknowledge also that during the digital revolution or digital innovation, there are two distinct ways that innovation are derived and harnessed to the society. First, the authoritarian innovation, and second is the democratic innovation. This is the interesting phenomena that we always find across ASEAN countries, that most countries tend to be authoritarian innovative.
Authoritarian.
So, yeah, we will talk about that differently later, but I think for now, we're still a long way to go to democratic innovation by harnessing the digital innovations.
All right, now that you've recognized that most of the countries are authoritarian and we have a long way to go in terms of democratic innovations, can you tell us, have there been instances of technology being used then to suppress or manipulate civic space in ASEAN, considering that you have already mentioned a lot of countries are authoritarian? And how can such challenges be addressed to ensure a fair and open democratic environment?
Right. It's striking. We can see strikingly when it comes to the inclusivity of the innovations. Well, if we want to make a democratic innovation, the government should include public participation on developing the innovations. But in reality, most of ASEAN countries use the approach of the top-down approach for the government. So there's no public participation partaking on the developing of the innovations. And like recent evidence in several countries, like for example, the development of AI-based technology on facial recognition, for example. There is a discrimination in Myanmar and also in Thailand, for example. There is a discrimination on AI-based used by military to Muslim populations, and also how they use facial recognition and other AI-based, the data-intensive technology to oversee the people, to oversee all the activities of the people, to gather the data of the citizens without securing the personal data and regarding our personal data as digital human rights. I think that's the important and vital phenomenon that we should take into account in the future.
So you've mentioned a while ago the lack of public participation. Can you try to expound on that? Can you try to explain to us how different ASEAN countries have demonstrated this lack of public participation in terms of digital innovation?
Right. The basic idea of using digital innovation to the positive impacts should be improved and invigorate people-centered governance through a technology-mediated relationship between the government and citizens. If you take a look at evidence like in Taiwan, for example, there is Free Taiwan where people can gather together in a digital platform, share their aspirations, critiques to government, even propose new legislatives, procedures, and other. But in ASEAN countries, I think we're still lacking of this kind of activities in digital platforms. But the positive things in several years, we can see also digital innovation also invigorate the willingness of youth people in ASEAN countries to participate in civic engagement. Like, in Malaysia, in the last general election, there was only 18. So it initiated by youth people in Malaysia to, critique government to lower the country's voting age from 21 to 18. So I think this is one of the positive impact of digital innovation in ASEAN countries, and especially harnessed by youth people here.
So you've mentioned this group in Malaysia, correct?
Yeah.
So is this a digital platform that they use to voice out their opinion on the government? And is this in a way that kind of public participation that you were pertaining to that is lacking in other countries?
Yeah, it's one of the instances. But we can see also the smart city initiatives across Southeast Asian countries. I think you know about it too. We have a lot of initiative linked to smart cities, like 100 smart cities in Indonesia, Malaysia smart city framework, and also ASEAN smart city network initiative initiated by Singapore in 2018 and so forth. And this is one of the, I think, positive initiatives made by governments and authorities across the ASEAN countries to improve the public participation and civic engagement to, make betterment in society, especially in policy-making process.
So considering this, may we ask then if these young people's activeness on social media and, as you have mentioned, their voice being heard, do these help shape policies in that particular country, in Malaysia, for example, in relation to the new media?
Yeah, it evident that it successfully lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. So I think it successfully made in Malaysia, and I think this will be, trigger other. I hope it will trigger other youth-led groups in
countries. Yeah. How about in Indonesia? Have you heard of other platforms also, or maybe other ways that different sectors use digital technology to also participate or help in shaping policies?
Yeah. Indonesia, by the youth-led movement, we're still not using digital innovations a lot like Malaysia did. But we have like policy innovation labs like Smart City Jakarta. We're promoting citizen-centered design. And
sorry, can you just repeat that? You're using?
Right. In Indonesia, we're not, there's no evidence that youth-led movement or youth-led groups are using digital innovation to, promote new policies and so forth. But we have here several policy innovation labs, like Impulse Lab, like also the Smart City is a policy lab. I think we can promote citizen-centered design, and we can reduce the government centralized approach to develop policies. And I think this is a breakthrough. And other countries also, not only Indonesia, I think. Singapore also have Smart Nation. They have more advanced technology used to promote the citizen-centric approach. But I think the major impediment for our digital innovations is our cultural backdrop on practicing democracy, because we're not practicing the Western values democracy here, right?
Well, you've compared the kind of democracy and the Eastern and the Western side. So how do you think this very much affects digital innovation, or how digital innovation can be used in favor of democracy?
Right. First, we have no unfettered speech. We have limited freedom of speech in this region, right? I think you also acknowledge it.
Well, there is freedom of speech, but maybe it's still, well, specifically also to authoritarian countries, it may be very, 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 very limited.
Yeah, yeah. Even the most democratic countries in ASEAN or the advanced countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, we also see frequent censorships on internet, right? And not all voices from people in the digital platform are now heard by the governments. So I think this in digital innovation paves the way for people, and I think the government should recognize that all the way people to participate, to get the voice heard by the government has been changed. Not just only walking by the street and protesting on the street, but also using the digital platform. And I think back then, one of the biggest impediment for ASEAN countries are cultural backdrops.
Cultural backdrops. Okay.
Like, for example, I can give you an example. For example, one of the biggest constraints that we face now is our data is centralized by the government, right? But the governments and authorities across ASEAN countries are still lacking to say on securing the private data of citizens. And this is the and it's also aggravated. It also aggravated by the data breaches that frequent occur also among ASEAN countries. I think there's also some impediments that we should tackle.
So, are you also saying that these are triggered, or I mean, the impediments that you have been sharing with us have also been triggered by the fact that the government usually has the central or is the depositary of all the citizens' data, and usually there are breaches in data that happens, and at that point governments do not or are not able to respond to these breaches, or are not able to anticipate or prevent these. That's why this is a major problem or a big impediment in digital innovation here in the ASEAN region?
Well, it's all about, first and foremost, authorities here in ASEAN countries. They tend to be authoritarian in terms of making digital innovations. Why? Because we can see that government tends to control all the data of the citizens, making it like a digital surveillance in this region. Like I see, like I told mentioned before, the use of AI-based technology to oversee people activities. I think there is a tendency, the rise of digital surveillance in the future, if we take a look for the situation right now. And the second, we should make it more human-centric, not just government-centric, or people-centric, citizen-centric, as I say. So it's not about the government that only initiate the innovation, but they should also let the people, the citizens, to partake in the innovation process. And this is the process that we're still lacking.
So when you say it should be human-centric, what do you mean by being human-centric? Can you try to expound on that?
Right. Human-centric, first and foremost, we should see and we should perceive digital rights as a fundamental and basic human rights in this region.
Fundamental human right.
Digital rights is a basic human right for nowadays, I think. So we can make all the products for the business services, all the public services, even the research areas are ethical, responsible, and also give the respect to public or citizens' data or citizens' right on data privacy, especially.
I like what you have mentioned there, that digital rights must be basic, fundamental human right, and that data privacy is, one of the first and foremost things a person can expect in terms of keeping his or her personal data. Now, you've mentioned a while ago, Albert, that, there have been challenges or impediments in the ASEAN region in terms of technology, digitalization, and other things that have influenced the policies of different ASEAN countries. Now, I'd like to hear a few positive side of things. You've already mentioned Malaysia, but are there other successful initiatives or best practices within ASEAN that showcase how technology has strengthened civic space and democratic values in the region?
Right. I think the biggest or the most significant potential impacts, positive impacts through the digitalization or other cutting-edge technology in this region will be at the economic sector. Yeah, I think it's able and
The
economic sector, right? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It may accelerate economic growth in this region. For example, the use of AI-based technology, it can potentially give impact to ASEAN countries up to 950 billion US dollars, resulting in a 10 to 18% uplift in our GDP, in regional GDP by 2030. So I think despite positive things or in invigorating people-centered society and other affirmations before, the biggest and significant impact is in economic.
I guess this only means that, when we use AI based technology, then things would be easier or, more efficient. And since data will already be shared, well, secured and shared properly, this could have a significant growth in the economies of the ASEAN regions. Other than yes.
I forgot. I would mention, sorry. If you take a look back during the COVID-19 pandemic, right? Many countries have succeeded to use this cutting-edge technology to trace COVID and other aspect to, secure their citizens from the COVID-19. Like in Singapore, they have succeeded tracing those infected by COVID-19 through using digital innovation, especially in AI-based technology. I think that's also one of the positive impacts using this technology in this region. And we should make a clear legal basis and other risk to categorize the risk of the use of technology in the future. Like, for example, in AI-based technology, we still don't have a specific legal basis or impunitive measures to the technology in ASEAN. So I think...
So, are you trying to say that we still lack legal basis to categorize the risks of using digital innovation? So I think that's something that the ASEAN region should look into, right?
Yeah, we should define the risk, define the punitive measures together with all the ASEAN countries, I think. So we can make a joint regulatory framework and other joint cooperation to think about this in the future. It's urgent for us.
I think that's a very good insight that you've pointed out. A framework could be a start among ASEAN countries in terms of trying to define, yes, digital innovation, how it's supposed to be used. I guess also its regulation and up to what extent can it be used by the government so that the basic human right of every citizen also in his or her privacy could also be protected, right?
Right. And we can also limit the authoritarian innovations emerge more.
Authoritarian innovations. All right. Okay, I guess just to wrap everything, do you want to say a few more words or maybe something that you would like to impart with our listeners before we end the episode?
Yeah, I think we have a big opportunities. ASEAN countries have a big opportunities. We have a large share market on digital market also. But first of all, we should, together all the authorities in ASEAN countries, I think we should consider digital rights as a basic and fundamental human rights before jumping into the bandwagon developing AI and other cutting-edge technology in the future. And I think the technological innovation, other digital innovation, have also invigorated public participation in the region. And I think this is a positive impact. And we do hope in the future there will be more citizen participation using digital platforms that can make a citizen-centric society and make betterment and uplift the well-being of society of our region in the future.
All right. Thank you so much, Albert, for that. We really appreciate your insights on this first episode. You've actually shared a very, very, very significant thing. I'd like to point out that you have mentioned that digital rights must be a basic fundamental human right. And we want to, of course, establish that. And as we try to move into a digital age, we also want to make sure that as we transition from there, frameworks or laws or regulations are properly in order so that things will be transitioned well and so that our data or the use of technology will be used properly and also for the purposes of the good of everyone. And I guess also to be more human centric and civil centric or people centric, just what you've mentioned. So thank you so much, Albert, for all those things. That's all for today's episode of ASEAN People Speak. Thank you all for listening, and thank you, Albert, for joining us today. Would you want to
Pleasure.
promote your social media account, website, organization, publications, or any upcoming project?
Yeah, just you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter, Albert Chuswa. Just like that. I think it's enough.
All right. Thank you so much, Albert. Join us
Thank
again
you,
next week. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on Spotify to stay updated and never miss an episode. You can also stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by following at WG ASEAN HRMEC. And you can also visit our website at ASEANHRMEC.org. Again, thank you so much, guys. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged. Goodbye.